Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Because the history of the Jamaica Constabulary Force is somewhat tainted by its ties to Jamaica's colonial past, having been founded on the back of the Paul Bogle-led Morant Bay Rebellion in 1865, the police force has not always been a revered institution in Jamaica. This is further heightened by the fact that police officers are often referred to as Babylon, a term used to describe oppressors. So, when a police officer earns the love, respect, and admiration of the community he serves, it speaks volume for his character, personality, and his ability to generate and earn respect. The fact that the entire Montego Bay community was thrown into mourning on the afternoon of June 10, 2002, when beloved police officer 38-year-old Rupert Gardener was shot dead inside a cambio in Westgate, Montego Bay, speaks volume of this policeman and the impact he had on Montego Bay. To say Gardener, who was a native of St. James, was friendly and easy to get along with would be an understatement. While police officers are known to be very serious in their demeanor, Gardener, popularly known as Jigo, a former student of Cornwall College, was a man who was always smiling and ready to crack a joke. In this edition of Lest You Forget, I will be revisiting the killing of Gardener from a story I wrote for the Gleaner, which was published on June 11, 2002, under the headline, Cop Shot Dead. The story read as follows. Another policeman, Detective Inspector Rupert Gardener, was shot dead by a gunman in Montego Bay yesterday afternoon, the second in less than a week. Late last night, policemen rushed to the Mount Salem area of St. James in pursuit of a man said to be the prime suspect. They said he engaged them in a shootout but escaped. Tears flowed in Montego Bay yesterday as police personnel and civilians alike mourned the death of the popular policeman. Reports are that Gardener, 38, who was the officer in charge of the Criminal Investigation Department at the Montego Bay Police Headquarters, had gone to the Westgate Plaza about 2:20 p.m. to transact business when he was trailed into a cambio by two gunmen. On the inside of the building, one of the men reportedly opened fire, shooting him in his head. As the wounded lawman fell, his attacker stole his service revolver and fled the building. On exiting the building, the gunman fired several shots into the air, and then he, along with his crony, escaped into the nearby Westgate Hills area. Detective Inspector Gardener was rushed to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where he was pronounced dead. He was a young man with a lot of promise, and he definitely had a lot to offer to the force, said Superintendent Ivan Brown, the Community Relations Officer in charge of the Western Region. As news broke that Gardener had died, scores of residents from the Mount Salem area, where the Cornwall Regional Hospital is located, rushed to the facility, joining weeping members of the force as they all huddled together in mourning along the corridors of the casualty department and outside the hospital building. When Sharon Gardener, the wife of the murdered cop, arrived at the hospital at approximately 4:20 p.m., she was immediately ushered into the casualty department by her husband's colleagues. After viewing the partially covered body of her husband, her piercing scream echoed through the building. At about 5 p.m., there was a scramble outside the hospital as policemen rushed off to their vehicles as news came that a suspect in the shooting was spotted in the Westgate Hills area and was being pursued. In the week after Gardener was killed, his killing was easily the biggest story in Montego Bay, as persons who had interacted with him over the years spoke glowingly about him. Following subsequent investigations by the police, their trail led them to known gangsters Frank Prenter Wiley and Carly Matteland Williams. Wiley was subsequently killed in a shootout with the police, and the weapon that was taken from Gardener recovered. Several weeks later, Williams was also killed in another confrontation with the police. In looking back at the life and then the murder of Gardener, it was definitely one of those unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica. Unforgettable stories out of Western Jamaica from the scrapbooks of Adrian Freighter. Before you go, please remember to subscribe.